There's a saying that goes, in love and relationships, we often play different roles on the stage of life. On today's case, Ms. Jackson says she's played her role in her partner, Mr. Sheriff's life for almost a decade. But now that she's the leading lady in their love story, she's thinking she might need to be recast. She says he's a narcissist who drinks too much, and now she's having serious doubts about their future. Will he trade in his shots of vodka for a shot at love? Let's hear their case.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Starr presiding. Your Honor, this is the case of Jackson versus Sheriff.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jackson and Mr. Sheriff. Ms. Jackson, you are here because Mr. Sheriff's lifestyle no longer suits you. You want to see real change and commitment, or you say the relationship is over?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Sheriff, you say you want to save the relationship, but that Ms. Jackson is pushing you away. You say you are set in your ways, and she needs to get with the program.
Yes, Your Honor.
So let me see, you all have been in each other's life for a very long time, but you are not married. Together for 10 years, off and on, no kids together, although there are some children from previous relationships, but you've been living in the same house for the last year. Why are we in court today, Ms. Jackson?
Your Honor, we're in court today because I have been Anthony's side chick for the past 10 years.
What?
Yes, the past 10 years. I'm in my 30s now. I want children. I want to be married. But there are some things that we got to work through. He's an alcoholic, and I don't know what to do. I think he still might be talking to other women. And I just want to make sure that since I'm his number one now, that we're working towards what I want, which is marriage and children.
Well, I have just heard for the first time somebody identify themselves as having been a 10-year side chick, but guess what? She retired now. That's what she wants everybody to know. What do you say, Mr. Sheriff?
Knowing her for the last 10 years, she's been a great friend, and we've had some wonderful times. And now you can say I'm at that place and point I'm willing to settle down as well. She made mention of my drinking, and I do like drinking. I have me a little shots here and there.
Let's dig a little deeper. Take me back to when you all met, because you said you've been his, quote, side chick for 10 years. That's an awful long time.
Yes, Your Honor. We met 10 years ago. I used to work at a check cashing place. And so one of the services we offered were copies. And he came into my job, and he had a lot of paperwork that he needed to be copied. And I did not charge him for the copies. So that's how we started up a conversation.
Oh, you hooked him up?
I did hook him up.
Okay.
Really sweet guy. He actually gave me his phone number that day. He told me to call him that night when I got off, and I did call.
Did you know that he was involved in a relationship with other people?
Yes, he was very upfront with that. I called him that night. I was at his house that night, and we had a conversation, and he was very honest with me.
And said that he was involved in another relationship?
He told me that he was just recently divorced.
Oh, I see.
But he was already currently in another relationship with another young lady.
Okay, so just getting out of one relationship, getting into another relationship, and still trying to shoot his shot at you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Sheriff, come on now.
Well, with that being said, I ain't never cheated on her. I cheated on him, you know. I had my thing going on. I was a young man. 10 years ago, I was a very young man, and I was living my life. And I was not an alcoholic back then, but after 2 divorces, who wouldn't want to pick up a bottle and take a shot?
In the time that you have known Miss Jackson, you have been married twice?
Yes, ma'am.
Busy man.
You know, we did start seeing each other. There was no commitment. He did have another woman, but he never let us cross paths. I never saw her.
That's what folk do when they cheating. You don't let the side chick come up with the wife? What in the ham sandwich?
Oh, my
But
God.
I thought
Yo, you never seen Goodfellas? The side chick go out on Friday, the wife go out on Saturday.
Your
They don't go
Honor.
they can even go to the same place. They just don't go at the same time.
I was with him every day. So I was with him too much to not see another woman. So I thought that it was just like, you know, a transition. He just got out of a divorce. This was another young lady he was with, and it wasn't serious. And then I left. I went out of state to go to college. And when I would visit home, I would come and like see my parents, and I would see him as well. We still
And
kept
Mr.
in
Sheriff, what was
communication.
going on with you while she went off to go to college? What were you doing?
I decided to go ahead and marry the other young lady, the second young lady. And
So you got out of that marriage, the first marriage,
Yes,
finished
Your Honor.
that off, and then you married the woman that you were involved with when you first met Miss Jackson.
yes, Your Honor.
And when Miss Jackson would come back into town, y'all would do y'all.
Yes, Your Honor.
I appreciate your honesty. Miss Jackson, and you knew that he had gotten married.
Yes, Your Honor. But during that 3 years I was in college, he had gotten married and then divorced before I even came back.
Clearly, the second woman was not the woman for you either.
No, ma'am.
Miss Jackson,
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm listening to your timeline. It says to me that you replaced all the other women that he was not letting you encounter. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know them ones that you never saw?
Yes.
Be careful what you wish for. How you get them is how you lose them.
Yes, Your Honor. But now being in that position where I am number one, I can see flags that I didn't have that viewpoint.
Okay, Miss
Before.
Jackson, real talk, you're not number one. You never have been. He's number one. He's always made that choice.
I mean, it still doesn't change the fact that he is unappreciative. Now that I am his woman,
Yes.
you know, I've made changes toward him as my man. I would think he would do the same thing. And that's not even like the big deal about everything. Like
What's the big deal?
The big deal is the alcoholism, the drinking. Like that's the big deal with it. Father's Day, he decided to occupy his time and find something to do, and he filled it with a liquor bottle. He's already like pissy drunk.
Your Honor.
Like pissy
In my
drunk.
defense, I called her, I explained to her that I was about to have something to drink, hung out with a couple of my buddies, we got a bottle, and we was having some jokes, cracking jokes. I was planning on spending time with her, so we can probably make another baby. She
Boy.
didn't, because we could have had this day next year for us. But you know, it is what it is.
How has the drinking manifested itself in your relationship?
Well, it's popping up all the time now. One time, which was actually this Mother's Day, he came over with me to my family's house. We had a Mother's Day brunch, and he was over there. I asked him not to drink because I know that he cannot control himself. He can't control how much he drinks.
You all
So-
had an actual conversation about this before you went?
Yes.
Was
Your
that
Honor,
correct,
Your Honor,
Mr. Chair?
we did have a couple of conversations about it. But I hate a
Two
person that say that I can't drink and they drinking too.
But does
Now,
she have a drinking problem?
No, she don't have a drinking problem, and there was no problem on Mother's Day. I had a couple of shots, and that was the bottom line. We sat there, we danced together, then we went home.
Now you're
There was no
telling me there
problem.
was no problem. I'm going to ask Miss Jackson.
There was a problem. The problem was that since we had conversations, he said a couple, so there was at least two, about not having any alcohol, and then I find out he's like over in the corner sneaking liquor, like sneaking shots. I could hear him from 2 rooms over because he gets that loud.
It wasn't even no 2 rooms over. We was only in
2
one
rooms
room.
over.
We was only in
He's
one room.
wild. He's all over the place. So then when I finally see him and I find out, oh, you've been drinking, I can smell it, like instantly.
So what was it when you said to me, this is your exact words, my own family can see that you're not having this drinking problem and you've calmed down a lot. And we was all in the living room chilling, listening to music. And I didn't even
When
know
did
you
I
can
say
sing.
that, though?
So
Was that
we was all
before or
having a
after?
celebration.
Here's the deal. If in fact you both acknowledge that when you drink to excess, it can be over the top, and everybody agreed that you were not going to have alcohol at this celebration, help me to understand what made you change your mind.
That's what I wanted to do.
There it is. And Mr. Sheriff, I appreciate your honesty. Ms.
Your Honor.
Jackson, you heard what he said.
Yes, I did. That's not even the only time. That was Mother's Day. Then we have Father's Day. So Father's Day, I was actually gone most of the day. And so
And we were supposed to be kicking it.
we were supposed to meet up. I ended up
Okay.
staying longer than what we previously discussed. So he decided to occupy his time and find something to do, and he filled it with a liquor bottle. He's already like pissy drunk.
Your Honor.
Like pissy
In my
drunk.
defense, I called her, I explained to her that I was about to have something to drink, hung out with a couple of my buddies, we got a bottle, and we was having some jokes, cracking jokes. I wanted to talk to my kids, they didn't even call for Father's Day, so that frustrated me. I was planning on spending time with her, so we can probably make another baby, and she
Boy.
didn't know where to be found, because we could have had this day next year for us. But you know, it is what it is.
You decide to drink that much, come to our house, stumbling, slurring,
He
stanking.
admits that he drank too much.
Your Honor, I had to push him out of the door. He couldn't stay there.
Mr. Sheriff, is that the level of your drinking till you get to the point where you are so
No, Your Honor,
inebriated?
I was not that excessively drunk. Okay, just because you only can drink a little bitty glass of wine and I want to drink me a pint of Hennessy, that's what I drink. And it's smooth, and it relaxes me. I get to chill.
Mr. Sheriff, what are you medicating? Because to drink to excess on a regular basis usually suggests that there's something that's wrong. You brought your sister here today.
Yes, my sister is here.
Do you think they belong together for the long term?
It's fun when you're young, so it was all fun and games to her. But she's honestly really, I tell her all the time, blocking her husband.
If you'd like your case to be heard on divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com. Missed a show? Watch full episodes on our streaming platforms and follow us on social media for exclusive content. What's up with you?
Sometimes, like you said, you don't like to be alone, and that does bother me. If you just noticed, I said I drank on Father's Day for the simple fact that kids didn't call, kids wasn't around. Randee was supposed to hang out with me, and she wasn't around.
So
to fill that void.
I beg your pardon, excuse me. It seems that when you are by yourself, you have to fill that time and space with either people or some other addiction.
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that about, sir?
A whole lot. Some of it's way too much to explain even now.
If you really are interested in making some changes in your life, you're going to have to acknowledge that you drink to excess, which means, say the words, I'm an alcoholic.
Yes, ma'am.
And then determine whether or not you want to make some changes. So, sir, are we going to get a handle on this drinking problem? Are you interested in getting a handle on this drinking problem?
Yes, Your Honor. I really am.
You interested in actually delving into why you drink so much?
Yes.
Because
I explained to Randee a lot in regards to why I drink. Randee knows a lot of history about me throughout the 10 years.
Your Honor.
And so when I'm expressing to her where the pain comes from, because you mentioned that there is pain, and there is a lot of pain. And so I'm very open and transparent with her to no end. If I'm dealing with something, she's been my confidant all these years, I just tell her. And then her rebuttal or her snapback or her coming down on me, it just makes me just want to drink more. And that's the honest to God's truth, because you're yelling at me, and it's like, okay, all I did was have a shot. Now you're yelling at me so much, now I just want the rest of the bottle.
No, it's not just a shot, it's a bottle.
No, Miss Jackson, I hear Mr. Sheriff. Mr. Sheriff has a drinking problem. There is no question. This court can point you in the direction of some addiction specialists if you are interested and you want to make a change. But I'm not interested in doing that for somebody who doesn't want to make the change.
I am willing.
And you need to repair whatever it is in yourself so that you can be the man that does not need to self-medicate. I'm giving you this, regardless of what happens here, that's absolutely necessary. Day one, step one, today, on this. Ms. Jackson, I understand you brought your sister here today.
Yes, my sister is here.
She couldn't be here in person, but she wanted to join us virtually. Hi, Ms. Jackson, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Will you do me a favor and state your name and relationship to the plaintiff?
Savon Jackson. I'm the older sister of Randee.
And Ms. Jackson, your sister has been talking to the defendant for 10 years in a relationship. What was your first impression since you've been around, you're the older sister, back in the day?
Well, my first impression, I really didn't think anything of it. I just thought they were, hanging out, dating. He was cool, so she was happy, so I was happy.
Did you know she was the side chick?
I found out that she was, and I was like, really, that's what you want to do? And she like, she young, so it didn't really bother her. And to us, you couldn't tell. I wouldn't even know if she didn't tell me. He was always around. He's still always around.
I see. And Mr. Sheriff testified that your family loves being around him and y'all have a good time. Do you all like him?
Yeah, we like him. Like, he is a good time.
Do you think they belong together for the long term?
It's fun when you're young. Like my sister said, she was in her early 20s when she met him. So it was all fun and games to her. But she's honestly really, I tell her all the time, blocking her husband, and she deserves better than that.
Well, Ms. Jackson, I appreciate your insight. Thank you very much. Big sisters often know what's going on the real deal. Miss Jackson here in the courtroom, did you hear what your sister said?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm assuming she said this to you before.
She might have mentioned it.
Yes, she did. Mr. Sheriff, did you hear what Ms. Jackson said?
I heard exactly what she said, and from when I go around, it is not like that at all. I'm like husband material, period.
What they see and what I see is always going to be different. So they don't know you have the DUIs. They don't know what happened this weekend when you got drunk at work and I had to follow you home to make sure you were safe. They don't know all of that. Yes, you're fun. Like, I love you. All the good times that we have together. I want to be with you. But there's just things you gotta work on. And I'm not gonna wait until I'm working on it. Like, you can only work on it for so long. You know I'll leave. Well, you probably don't think I'll leave because I've been around in and out for 10 years, but I will leave.
I can tell you right now, until you walk out the door for real, he doesn't know you'll leave. Mr. Sheriff knows that you are a comfortable pillow that he can squish and put his arms around and work. He knows that because that's who you've been for 10 years. Mr. Sheriff has some work to do on himself. We already discussed that. He does, and I am 100% following up with you to help you get on the path to Alcoholics Anonymous, if you will. It's time for you to put your health on your front burner. That's what you need to do, so you can get yourself together. But you, Ms. Jackson, you need to decide if you're worth being more than a side chick.
Your Honor, she's not the side chick any longer. She's my woman, and so, like I explained,
She's the side chick to the alcohol. She's the side chick to what you're trying to do. She's still the side chick to number one, because number one has always been you, Mr. Sheriff. Let's live in the truth. You always are doing what works for Mr. Sheriff, because you'll know she's always going to be there. Here's my question. If you weren't there, what do you think would happen?
To be honest, Your Honor, I actually think he'll be fine if I wasn't there. Just like I'd be fine.
I'm just gonna go find another woman.
Didn't we just discuss that?
Yeah, it's exactly what I would go do. That's why every time she has left, every time she has rejected me, I just find a whole new direction.
He fills in the blanks.
Yeah, as I go.
So
and I make sure those blanks handle their responsibilities as my woman.
Right, but if you can just fill me in, I don't need to be there.
When people tell you who they are, believe them the first time. This is the man that you've been involved with for 10 years. I don't know if that works for you. I don't. I really don't understand if that works for you. But I'm not sensing that we're looking at marriage right now. And you in your 30s, and you decided this is the time you want to be somebody's number one. You should never be somebody's number two.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at with it, is that if he can fill me in, then I'm done.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, Mr. Sheriff is going to work on himself, because he needs to get that drinking under control. And that's not on you. That's on him. He's got to get that under control. But you may be blocking your blessings on the person that you should be with. Because if you're not careful, Mr. Sheriff will fill you in the next time and it'll be another wife. And if you don't get that drinking, you'll end up in the front of the church in a coffin.
Yeah.
And you will be in the back of the church with the girlfriends.
Yeah, I'm done filling me in. You can fill me in with somebody else. Move.
No, what you mean?
What you mean? What I mean? You just said you could fill me in.
No,
if I wasn't here, you go find another woman.
No, I'm just saying, if you telling me you gonna leave me, then what?
I never said I was gonna leave you until you said all that stuff earlier.
No, but okay, if you.
So you don't want me here. I can't leave somebody who don't want me.
Well, Robert, sometimes shining a light can hit you like a ton of bricks.
Perfect example of you knew who Jimmy was when you met Jimmy.
Absolutely, and sometimes when you put that mirror up to your own face, you see that you got a crooked eyelash. There it is.
Made in Georgia.